Welcome students. Now we proceed with another lesson. We'll be still treating this past papers. Like looking at this is a worksheet made from previous past, made from our past papers, right? So sorry. So so they've decided just to go through all of the past papers and come up with unique question as well as the common ones, right? Meaning looking at this question, you just simply need to capture the scenarios. The moment you are used to these scenarios, you can tackle any question, right? So now in this lesson we'll be dealing with question 4 and 5 only, right? And then we'll still have follow-up sessions where we still treat other equations on this financial math, right? So on question 4, okay, question 4 reads as follows, right? And then we'll be reading the question as well as taking out the keyword, right? Now we have question 4, right? Question 4, they're saying a machinery is purchased at a cost of 550,000 rands. Oops, I know my P is 550,000 rands, right? Which is, it's nearly similar with the previous one, right? So I know my P, the original cost of the machine is 550,000. It is expected to rise in cost at 15% per annum. We know that escalation, sorry, you'll but let me, you know, we know that escalation, right, or it rises, or inflation, the rise or inflation or escalation, our I will be, our I will be 15% at compound interest, right? So whenever I want you to note an increase in something has to do with the positive side, right? And then we are told that okay, the machine is expected to rise in cost. So which formula are we going to use? They said compound interest, right? So which means we're going to use a compound increase. Why a compound increase in this case? Because of it rises in cost on compound interest. So positive has to do with an increase in something, right? So, and it depreciates. What are, okay, down here we have we have depreciation here in this case, and then it depreciates in value at a rate of 8% per annum compounded annually. I know it depreciates, but because of this said compounded, I know I'm going to use compound depreciation, right? So I know that I'm going to use compound depreciation at a rate of 8%. They said compounded annually. So annually, we know that we have AS1, right? So dividing by 1 or multiplying by 1 will not have any effect. That's why I'm just writing my 8%. I'm not dividing by 1 because of it has no effect per annum. And then a sinking fund is started to make provision for replacing the old machine. A sinking fund, and I know down here I have a sinking fund. What's a sinking fund? We said a sinking fund is an amount used to replace all materials, and it is an example of what, and it is and is an example of a future failure, right? I know that I'm going to have this equation, right? Because a sinking fund is an example of what? Because I know that a sinking fund is an example of a future bill, right? So it has a sinking fund of 16% compounded monthly. So my I for my sinking fund will be 16% divided by what? Divided by 12, because they said compounded monthly, which is the same as 0.16 divided by 12. Right, we continue, right? And okay, a sinking fund pays 60, okay, a sinking fund pays 18% per annum compounded monthly and make provision payments into this account for 10 years. I know, and it's my 10 Because of this and compounded monthly, I multiply by 12. So what is 10 times 12? It has to be 240. 10 times 12 has to be, no, it's 120, right? It's 120, right? And they said, okay, and they're saying, okay, and they're saying, okay, the sinking fund pays, okay, the sinking fund pays 16% per annum compounded monthly, and you make monthly payment into the account for 10 years, right? Starting immediately and and 1 month before the purchase of, okay, you start immediately and 1 month before the purchase of the new machine, right? Because of we are starting immediately, we know it's an annuity due on our, and we do what, we add 1 on our end, we add 1, so we get 1 2 1, right? So now let's continue. So starting, okay, so the first thing we have question 4.1, and 4.1 we are asked to calculate the replacement cost of the new machine 10 years from now. Now we are calculating the new cost. We were told that the cost is going to rise, right? We want the new cost in 10 years time. My n in this case will be 10. Why? Because of it rises at an interest of 15% per annum, meaning on my n I don't do anything to my n because they said compounded annually per annum, right? So I would say, okay, a is equivalent to p into 1 plus I to the power n, and then a will be, I know that p is my original cost, that's 550,000, and then I have 1 plus 0 comma 1 5 to the power 10. So let's check what we have. Okay, multiply by 1 plus 0 comma 1 5 to the power 10. Okay, we get this amount. We get 225.6755, right? And then we know we round our answer to 2 decimal places. We'll round our answer to 2 decimal places, right? Since it's our final answer. And then now we have 4.2. 4.2, okay, reads as follows: determine the scrap value of the machine in 10 years time, right? Now I know this is my depreciation, right? I know that n will be 10. Why? Because of I is compounded per annum, right? It's compounded annual, right? So I'm going to use this because we know that the scrap value, we know that it has, whenever we're looking for the scrap value, it simply means that it lost value. The moment you are calculating for the scrap value, simply means that it depreciated. We'll use this because of they've stated that it depreciates on the reducing balance method, right, on the question. So I would say, okay, my scrap value is a equals to p into 1 minus I to the power n. And then I know a is the amount afterward, after that thing has lost value. P remains to be 550,000 into 1 minus. Now this is my interest, and then what's my n? My n is 10, right? Now let's see what is it. Okay, I have minus 0.08, right? And then now we get this amount. Now the scrap value, we get this amount, okay, 36498, and then we round the final answer to 2. We round the final answer to 2 decimal places, right? So yeah, we'll have this amount. The first question, we are asked to determine the replacement cost, right? And now the replacement cost in this case is a sinking fund, right? Why didn't one may ask why didn't we use the feature value? How we were not going to be able to calculate the sinking fund using the feature value. Why? Because of we didn't have the monthly installment. We didn't have the monthly installment and other parts. But in fact, we know that it's going to rise in cost, and rising cost, we know that we can just simply use the compound interest, right? They said it rises in cost using the compound interest, right? And we know that the moment they speak about compound interest and rising cost, we'll use the equation with the plus side from the compound interest side, right? And then we were able to find 4.1. This is the price after the machine has escalated, right, in cost. And then we have 4.2, we have the scrap value, right? And then now we have 4.3. 4.3, we are asked to calculate the monthly payment into the sinking fund that will make provision for the replacement of the new machine. Now listen to me. In this case, they never spoke about defraying expenses. Meaning this person is not taking this old machine to this person. He's not taking this person is not taking this machine to this old machine to the store. In fact, he goes to the store and buy a new machine with the original price. What is the price? The price comes from 4.1 because of it has risen, right? We were told that it's going to escalate, that it has inflated, which means that value, now this value becomes your sinking fund because of it's the value that he needs to be able to buy a new machine, right? Now we are asked to calculate the monthly installment, which is your X. So I'm just going to remove this 8.2, right? I'm just going to, okay. Now here we are going to, now we are calculating, what's this? Okay, now we know the equation for future value. So you just simply, it is provided on your formula sheet. You just simply copy as it appears, you see, and make sure do not waste any time by trying to memorize this equation since they are provided. Rather memorize techniques, right, rather than this, since they are not really awarding cost, that there it's useless. So what happens that we know the future value, right? The future value is this. That's our sinking fund. This is the amount that the person needs to buy a new machine in 10 years time, right? We have 222,545.675 is equivalent to, and then we're looking for X. X is our monthly, it's our monthly installment, monthly payment, or monthly deposit. And then I know I have one plus what. Now here I have my interest because I've been told from the previous question, from the statement, right? Now the interest for the sinking fund is will be as follows. I'll have 0.16 divided by 12 all to the power, we know to the power 1 minus 1 to 1 minus 1, right? all over 0.16 all divided by 12. What do? I multiply by the reciprocal, right? I know it looks messy, but just to save time, I'm going to try this just to save time, right? So we have, okay, all to the power 1 to 1, and then we minus 1, right? The same thing what I do on the left, I also do it on the right. I'm going to try to remove this. Okay, yeah. So now what do? I multiply by the reciprocal, And just simply know that the reciprocal simply means you just simply swap, right? You take the denominator and then you put it in. You take the denominator, you make the denominator the numerator, and you make the numerator the denominator. You just simply swap the numbers, right? So here I'm just writing a messy expression just to save time and space. You see, that's the only thing. I don't really promote this. You will start by multiplying by this first, and then after you will divide, right? But if you want to write it in this manner, as long as you have space, that's fine, right? So is the individual's preference, whatever you want to do, as long as it's permitted and you are able to attain the same solutions, right? So here this will cancel, right? I'll be left with x. Let's calculate this, right? Let's calculate this. Now I have 0. Okay, now I have 0.16 all over 12, and I have 1 plus 0.16 to the power 12, and then I have 1 to 1, right? And then I minus 1. Now what do I get? No. Okay. Okay. Okay, I have to do what? I have to multiply by 222,505.6753. Let's check. Okay, I get. Okay, so here's my answer for the monthly payment. I want you to know, right, that if it happens that I make any mistake on these calculations, right, feel free just simply write on the comment section and alert us, right? So now my x for this question, I get 747 to the power. Okay, 74. Okay, let me do this. I want to check this first. It doesn't really make sense. I want to check this out one first. Okay. I want to check if I made any mistake or what. Okay, you have this correct. Let's see. Mhm. Okay, I get. Okay, I get what. Okay, I get 7.98 blah 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 blah, which is the same as 7/5, which is equivalent to x. There's something wrong. I believe there's something wrong. I would check. Let's go back to the question. Right. I don't know. Why did I make any mistake? Okay. The monthly payment. Okay. Okay. So let's check this. Okay, we will just simply check it out, right? Just simply check it out. This is the solution, or we'll come back to it later, right? We'll just simply come back to this solution. I don't know whether I made mistake with my calculations or what, right? But before the end of this lesson, we'll be we will be done with it. Right, now let's continue on question 5. right? So I'll get a new page just to save this page so that we just simply get, we treat it. So now let's continue question 5. Now on question 5, this is an interesting question. This is an interesting question. Question 5, it's an interesting question, right? Now listen to me. Before we read in this question, the first thing that I said, I told you that n is a period, right? Or n is the number of payments. So suppose I have a loan, or suppose I have to deposit some money, right? For a period of 1 year, right? And then I have to do what? And I have to pay monthly, right? So now listen, I'm saying suppose I have to make some payments, right? For a period of 1 year, and I have to pay monthly, right? And then what happens is that in a year we have how many months? We have 12 months, right? Meaning my n in that case will be 12, 12 months. That's a year, right? Now I have to pay every month, right? So if I have to pay every month, how many payments will I make? So I'm saying in a year I have 12 months, I have to pay every month. It simply means I'm going to have 12 payments. Now, in this case, I'm telling you now, your n is the period or the number of payment. Whenever you are given your n as the number of payment, you are not going to multiply by n. Irrespective of whether it's compounded, you will only divide, you will continue on dividing on your I, you will continue on dividing by the number of what? Compoundings, right? You will continue on dividing by the number of compoundings, but you don't multiply n whenever it's given in the form of payments. Whenever they say 10 payments maybe, or 2 payments, 60 payments, you don't do anything to our n. Why? Because of it's fixed. We are saying it's fixed, right? So the moment it's fixed, you don't do anything to our n, but you continue with what you were doing with your I, with your interest, right? Now let's head to this question. Let's head to this question. Now we head to question 5, right? Okay, let me make it at least visible. So question 5, they're saying a loan. You see, the moment you see the word loan, what happens is that you know which type of, that between future value and present value you use which between the two, right? But because of a loan, we know a loan is an example of a present value, right? Now in this case, we know that we are going to use a present value, and then a present value, this is the equation for a present value, right? This is the equation a present for a present value, right? So why? Because of they said a loan of. Now they say a loan of 100,000 rand. Now what is this 100,000 rand? We know that this 100,000 rand is a loan. It's a present value. Now your present value in this case is 100,000 rand. They're saying a loan of 100,000. It's repaid by means of annual 10 semi-annual payments. So they're saying a loan of, I'm emphasizing this, they're saying a loan of 100,000 rand is paid by means of 10 semi-annual payments, right? So how many payments do we have? We have 10. So your n in this case becomes 10. Semi-annual, we know that this simply means like half yearly, but you don't do anything. You don't multiply your n because of it's in the form of payment, right? But if this said maybe 10 years, you are going to multiply that 10 by a number of compoundings. But because of the saying uh 10 payments, we know these are our payments, 10 semi-annual payments. So the number of payments is 10, we don't do anything, right? And then of each is Rx. So we know that our monthly payment in this case, it's Rx. It's not given, right? Now they're saying if the interest on loan is just at 16% per annum compounded semi-annual. Now I know my I is 16%. Because of this, a semi-annual I divide by 2, which is the same as 0.18, 0.16 divided by 2. What is 0.6? 0.16 divided by 2 has to be 0.8, right? It has to be 0.008. That's your I. Now we are asked to determine the monthly installment. So now you copy the formula the way it appears and then you substitute. So in place of PV, you will put 100,000 and then you have X, right? And then in this case you have X, right? And then 5.1 says determine the 5.1 says determine if the first payment is made at the end of half year. We know the moment they say at the end of, ordinary it's an ordinary annuity. We don't have any effect on n. Our n stays how it remains 10, right? We don't do anything to it. We don't add one because it's a ordinary annuity at the end of. You see, we look at the end of in this case. So you will substitute 100,000 in terms of PV, which is the present value. We are looking for X in this case, and then into 1 minus 1 plus, what is your interest? Your interest is 0.08 minus what? Minus 10. All over what? All over 0.08. And then you will multiply both sides by 0.0. Okay, let's do this. Okay, you multiply both sides by 0.08, right? When you multiply, you'll be left with, in this case, okay, you'll be left with X into what? Let's check. 1 minus into 1 plus 0.08 to the power negative 10. What's that? Okay, in this case you'll have 0.536. This is 8065119, right? And then here, let's multiply that 0.08 delete by what? By 100,000, right? That's what is it? Is 8,000, right? Here we have 8,000, and then since we are solving for x, we will divide both sides by this number, right? This long number, right? And like I said, you don't round off until you reach the final answer. Now in this case, we'll say 8,000 we divide by this long decimal. You don't round off until you reach the answer, right? It says error. What's wrong? What went wrong? Okay, let's check. Oh, yes. Now in this case, your monthly payments will be, your X will be 4902.96. Remember, do not forget, since we said X is our monthly deposit or monthly installment, it has to be in rents, right? So now let's look at, okay, let's do this. Okay, yeah, I believe in this way. No, let's switch the size. Okay, yeah. Now let's head to 5.2. So this was 5.1. Now let's look at 5.2, right? Let's look at 5.2. I'm just gonna get a new page. Now let's look at 5.2. At 5.2, they're saying determine the semi-annual payment. Oh, we're still looking for X in this case. We're still looking for X. right? Now they're saying determine the semi-annual payment if the first payment is in 6 months time, right? And if a deposit of 15,000 was given. Now I want you to understand that on this question, the first thing that they did is that, okay, before the person can repay the loan, like the person gave back, like the person paid a deposit of 15,000 rand, meaning from a loan of 100,000 rand we are going to subtract 15,000 rand because of it's been paid off, right? And then the remaining balance which is known as the outstanding balance will be our new loan that the person has to pay. So because of the person deposited 15,000, because of they are saying a deposit of 15,000 was given, now the loan will no longer be 100,000. So we will take the 100,000 and minus what? And minus 15,000 because of they paid off 15,000, and we'll be left with 85,000 rand. Now this is our new loan. This is the new amount. It's known as the outstanding amount. That's the amount that this person has to pay now, right? It becomes our present value. Now we determine the semi-annual payment whenever our PV is 85,000 rand. So we do the same procedures, right? Our N remains the same. Our P, the only thing just changes is PV, right? So we'll have 85,000 rands in this case, which is equivalent to x since you are looking for x, and then we have 1 minus into 0 comma 0. No, is it 0 comma 0? Excuse me, 0 comma 0.8. Sorry, let me write it clearly, right? We'll have 1 plus 0 comma 0.8. Remember, that's our interest. We have it in the previous equation, in the previous question, and then my n remains to be 10 in this case. The only thing that changes here, the only thing that changes in this case is your PV because of the person paid a deposit of 15,000. Now, okay, here we'll be left with 0 0.08. Now we multiply both sides by 0 0.08 as planned, right? So on your left hand side you will say 0 0.08, and then you multiply by 85,000. Let's check. Okay, you have 6,800, right? And on your right you'll be having x into, let's check, 1 minus into 1 plus 0 0.08, right, to the power negative 10, right? And then in brackets we'll be left with 5,368,065,119, right? And then we divide both sides by that. We have 0.536,806,519, right? And then the same thing we do on the side, 0.536,806,519, right? Now let's see. In this case, the 2 will cancel out, be left with x. And now what's my x? We divide by answer. Now in this case, my x is 12,000. That's 12,667.51. Now that's the new monthly payment if the person decides to pay a deposit of 15,000, right? I believe we are just going to no, let's go to the previous question and fix the problem, right, as promised. And then after fixing the problem, I believe we are done for the day. We'll still be going through this worksheet, and I quote, right, please just simply go through these past papers, right, these videos where we we go through past papers. And feel free to pause whenever you want to do something. Just feel free to pause and continue on doing ABC, right? You pause, you practice, you write down the solution, and therefore you resume the video just to get just to cheer your session and understand the presentation, you see, and you'll be able to correct your mistakes if there's any mistake, right? So since in the previous question we complained, right? We complained. I want to check. I want to verify something. No, that's not this question. Let's no, okay. Let's go here. No, seems like it's no, no, no. Yeah, it has to be this one. Let's check. Yeah, it has to be this one. Okay, let me check. I just want to verify whether we went, through, we used the correct procedure. Okay. Okay. Mhm. Let's do this. Okay. Okay, that's oh, no, it's correct. It's correct. Yeah, we'll still continue on, going through this worksheet. I believe we're still going to have like few lessons coming while we'll be dealing with these past papers. Let me do this. Right, and I'm going to upload the session that we have. I'm going to upload the session that we had on what I'm going to upload the session that we had on what I'll upload the session that we had on probability as well as counting principles, right? um Continue on giving those feedback for us to be able to improve, right? With the with